Hi everybody, welcome back to Penny Prepper. I'm Kyle Pennypacker. So this video today is going to be focused more on an explanation for the rule of threes and more specifically air. The rule of three for air is that you can't go more than 3 minutes without air, but we're going to break that down a little bit further and go into some detail. So when we talk about air, we're talking about being able to pull in breathable air into the lungs being able to turn that air into oxygenated blood, and then that oxygenated blood being able to flow throughout the body and basically get to the cells and sustain life. So we're going to start this video out by going over some statistical facts about air in general, some of which may be a surprise to a lot of people. First of all, the air that you're breathing right now is not 100% oxygen. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that believe that, but I believe it is 78.08% that I got it right. I'm so happy. I thought I was going to have to look down a couple times. 78.08% of the air that you're breathing right now is actually nitrogen, and I believe it is 20.85. No, that's the number I just said. 20.95. So close. 20.95% of the air that you're breathing right now is actually oxygen. The rest is, I believe it's 0.9% is going to be argon, and the rest is just smaller amounts of other gases that don't really matter. I mean, they do, but they're minimal amounts. But essentially, the air that you're breathing, if it gets above 23.5% oxygen, it actually is an oxygen-enriched environment. That's where you start getting an increase in risk for fire. And then if it dips below 19.5% oxygen, that's actually an oxygen-deficient environment. That's what you really need to worry about in prepper case, because that means that you're not getting enough oxygen into the lungs to power your cells and to sustain life. All right, so I talked about having too much oxygen. That is something that can actually cause oxygen toxicity, or hyperoxia, which is too much oxygen in the blood, compared to hypoxia is what most people generally assume when they hear about oxygen and deficiency. That's where you really it becomes deadly, and you can have nausea, dizziness, blurred vision, you can start to vomit, and ultimately it can lead to death. All right, oxygen deficient environments. So one of the main ways that I like to explain this is if you have an enclosed room and there's only so much room, and then you take another gas and you put that in there, well, obviously that gas is going to take up some room, and the oxygen and nitrogen, for example, in the air, some of that's going to need to move out in order to make room for this other gas. So if this gas is coming in, it's taking the percentage of oxygen down, nitrogen down, and that gas is getting introduced. The more and more gas comes in, this other gas comes in, no matter what it is, it can displace the oxygen and nitrogen, and then your air is not breathable anymore. It's not a quality enough air to sustain life. Also, with that, one of the greatest examples I have, Pennsylvania is well known for it. We've been in the news for it multiple times, where on a farm in a manure pit, there was a farmer, went down in, and what happened was he passed out, oxygen deficient environment. Somebody outside saw it. They jumped down to help him. They passed out. Somebody called 911. Two officers unfortunately lost their lives. The first one jumped down, passed out, died. Next one jumped down, passed out, died. Then the fire department came. I believe it was the first firefighter jumped down, or the second firefighter there was like, wait, something's going on here, and they were able to figure it out. The farmer that actually went down first survived, I believe. But that is a great example of oxygen deficient environments where you just pass out from lack of oxygen, and you can succumb that way, compared to carbon monoxide, which is poisonous. I believe it's 4,000 parts per million is on the higher end, where you can actually die from carbon monoxide poisoning, whereas carbon dioxide is dangerous at 40,000 parts per million. But still, it's not something you want to mess with. And you need to go out, if you don't have one, go out, get a smoke alarm that has a battery backup and also detects carbon monoxide. If you don't already have that, it's a great investment. Something every prepper should have, just like a fire extinguisher. Go out, get it, and be safe. With that last point, I want to point out carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, tasteless gas. Carbon dioxide actually does have I believe they said it's a smell. It smells like carbonated water. But carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, both of which can be caused by combustion. So if you have a furnace in your basement, that can cause carbon monoxide and dioxide. But also carbon dioxide is more of a byproduct of combustion or decay, oxidation, stuff like that. Rust even creates carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide, the best way to think of carbon monoxide is made from combustion, and that's the more dangerous one. All right, so I'm going to go into prevention. Some of these are going to be a little bit boring, but I'm going to hit out these first four, and then right after you hear me say the fourth one, you can go ahead and skip. The rest is going to be boring statistics. So first way of prevention, proper ventilation. Whether you have a wood stove or a fuel furnace, ventilation is key. Make sure that none of the pipes are blocked and there's proper ventilation. Number two is going to be get a CO alarm, have a backup. Have a backup for the backup, as I always say. Number three, know the signs and symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning as well as treatment for it. The best thing to do as soon as you think that something's happening, get outside. Same with your CO alarms. Take those outside, make sure that they're working properly. And number four, be careful when cooking indoors. If you have something that's not designed to be used to cook indoors, like a propane stove, propane is typically pretty efficient, but don't be bringing wood into your home and trying to burn it in the basement and expect everything to be okay. All right, now you can skip ahead. This is going to be boring. So the weight of carbon dioxide is actually heavier than air, so it'll typically settle down to lowest level, whereas carbon monoxide is about the same weight as air, so it can fill up an entire room before going to that lower level. But let's see, CO alarms typically trip at 400 parts per million within 4 to 15 minutes. That can cause headache, dizziness, and at 800 parts per million for carbon monoxide, you can add nausea and convulsions onto that. 1600 at 20 minutes, it's the same stuff. And then at 1600 at an hour, it can cause death. 4,000 parts per million, like I said before, is deadly, I think, in 20 minutes. Yes, it is. Carbon dioxide, like I said before, that's typically from stuff like decay, stuff like that. Something that you wouldn't really have to worry about in your home, but it's still something to consider in a large-scale extinction level event. Let's say thousands of fish die near your home. They can produce carbon dioxide, which is more worry for greenhouse gases than anything. All right, that's the end of the boring part. Next part's going to be something else. All right, to wrap up the video, we're going to go through the preps. First, you can go get a box fan at a store, attach a HEPA filter to the back of it, and then you got your penny prepper way of an air purifier. Go out, spend the $200, $300, get a nice actual air purifier as well, just to start getting some healthy air into the house. Make sure that your areas that carbon monoxide can be created, like your attached garage or your furnace area, are well ventilated. Go over, make sure the pipes are all good. Also go out, get a CO alarm, carbon monoxide detector that has a battery backup that also plugs into the home. Go out, get a bandana, or in my case a shemagh, something that you can filter larger dust particles. Let's say if there's a forest fire or a sandstorm, wet it, cover your face, does pretty good job at filtering out larger particles. You can get gas masks that are Army surplus, that are pretty decent quality. This is Penny Prepper. I don't have the money to spend $300 to $400 on Mira Safety, high quality gas masks, so this will do until I can save up for something like that. Also, going out and purchasing something like self-contained breathing apparatus probably is not a good choice for you. If you're able to just at least get a gas mask or some plastic sheeting that you can cover the inside of your house if there were to be some sort of foreign contaminant outside, that would do wonders for you. And it's cheap and easy. Get some duct tape and you can turn a room in your home with an air filter or good ventilation into your oasis during a emergency. All right, that's it for this episode. That was the rule of 3 for air, which is you can't survive more than 3 minutes without the air. Stay tuned for next time where we go over the preparedness for shelter. That's 3 hours without shelter. All right, see you next time. Thank you.